Hello, sportsmen. Hey, the weather is breaking. The good fishing is just around the corner. I'm going to take you on a couple of fun fishing trips. One of them, we're going to go up to the Upper Peninsula. We're going to fish in Jeannie Carollo's trout pond, find some interesting things about rainbow trout, and we're going to go fishing, first of all, down in Lake Erie. A fun time with some fun guys. That's what it's all about. Stay tuned. I'm Fred Trost, and you're watching The Practical Sportsman.
You've been working for him.
Oh, right. That is a nice one.
This is not the kind of day you like to see for fishing the Great Lakes. It's said that when the wind is from the east, the fish bite the least. But we're going fishing anyway. You can't bank on Michigan's weather, good or bad. And today could turn out okay, even though it doesn't look like it now, and the weather forecast is bad too. Captain Jerry Bettendorf is the Thunder Chicken, and during May and June he docks his boat at the Luna Pier Marina. This is on the doorstep of some excellent walleye fishing, and the biggest ones are caught in late April. This time of year, the big spawners are crowded at the mouths of Ohio's Maumee River for their annual spawning run. 10 and 11 pounders aren't uncommon at this time of year, and hopefully we'll get into some. Here's the trick to catching spring walleye in shallow water. These are planer boards. These planer boards are the key to getting the lures away from the boat because the boat spooks the fish in shallow water. On the Thunder Chicken, light casting rods are used for walleye and a variety of deep-running lures that imitate smelt and small fish, which is what these walleye are feeding on at this time of year. Steve Collins from Jackson rigs up the lines, putting about 5 rods on each planer board line. The fishing line is pinched in these line releases, which are snapped to the planer board lines. And the releases slide down the planer board line, taking the lures out to the side, away from the boat. Al Kempf and Jim Abraham are fishing buddies from Jackson who hadn't had any experience with Lake Erie walleye, but within a half hour, they were into fish.
Right there, chicken. Outside. Got another one. There you go, Jimbo. There we go. We're back in business with another double.
Is she rolling?
Are you rolling, John?
I'm off.
Are you off?
I'm off, yep.
Lost it.
Oh, that one popped off too.
What am I hitting?
Unfortunately, both fish got off, but they were down there. On the Thunder Chicken's graph, the walleye show up as red blobs, and there were lots of them cruising 8 or 10 feet down in 15 to 18 feet of water. Every 10 or 15 minutes, we hooked one.
I will take all the help I can get, boys, because I'm new at this, as you have already seen. That, I believe, is going to be a hog. He's either got his toenails dug in the bottom, or he's a dandy. Compared to that last one I had.
Well, tell us again about your childhood fishing experiences. What did you come into this with as far as background?
He let loose.
No.
No.
Oh, tell me it isn't true.
The line went slack, the rod straightened out. Jim Abraham was bummed as he handed the rod to Melvin, the owner of the Luna Pier Marina. We really wanted Jim to catch a big one.
What did I do wrong?
I don't think you did anything wrong, Jim. I think it just because you were giving steady pressure to it. It just wasn't hooked very well, evidently.
If we weren't on film, I'd say something real colorful right now, boys.
Well, we were all disappointed, but the next fish would be Jim's, and when it hit, everybody got real serious.
There's not a lot of talking right now. A lot of tension.
Can you back up as fast as I can reel? There, he's pulling a little.
Well, we ought to be able to see him in a second here. You're getting him. You can see the angle at the end. Just keep doing what you're doing. Oh, there he is.
Oh, that's a nice
Yes.
That is a good one.
He didn't like to see what he saw, though. He went back.
Steve, let me grab your ankles and you reach way out for it.
I just hope we don't just reel in another pair of lips.
Oh, yes.
You got a good one on, Jim.
Yeah,
You gonna straighten the hook on this one?
No, don't even say those words.
Gentle handling of the rod is so important at this stage. Nobody knows how well that fish is hooked.
Let me tell you, no one is talking on the boat right now. not a word being said.
Dive.
Keep his nose up.
Little encouragement now.
Bring that problem to you guys. I gotta come over. Yeah.
Got him?
I got him.
Got him, all right.
All right.
Jim.
So that's what it's all
That's
about.
what it's all about. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a nice one.
That's a nice fish.
Yes, it is. Oh, that's
Thank
great.
you, boys. Appreciate the help.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
For a man who has majored in 1 pound fish all his life.
I was afraid. You know what I was afraid of.
You know it. Well, go ahead, pick him up. Hold him
sure?
up for the camera, yeah.
Are these big ones okay to pick up?
Sure.
Well, here it is. The biggest fish that Jim Abraham ever caught beat his childhood record by several pounds. A larger than average walleye, but average for the end of April in Lake Erie. And there was always the chance of catching an even bigger one. Look at what this walleye did to the bottom hook. Bent it right back. Well, now it's Al Kempf's turn. He's from WKHM Radio in Jackson and has never fished Lake Erie. Anybody who knows Al knows how talkative he is, always joking, always chatting and laughing, but not when he's catching a fish. This is really how people react when they bring a fish in, not jabbering like they do on the weekend bass fishing shows. People get quiet when they crank in a fish, just like Al.
What do you think of this, Al?
This is great.
Come on,
It's a
sound
nice
like
fish.
you've been working for him. Oh,
right.
that is a nice one.
That's a good one.
Very good. Look at that. Well, this is fish number 4.
Yes.
Oh, that is. All right, we got the sunlight here, Captain.
The sun comes out and the fish bite.
You pull through.
Captain Thunder Chicken takes a turn at the back of the boat. Steve Collins is at the helm, and Al Kempf is relieved that the battle is over. His walleye is in the boat. For those of you who remember when they said that Lake Erie was dead, well, those days are gone. The walleye are so plentiful. I tell you, I can even catch them.
Okay, I'm making the move. There we go.
All right. Yeah. Whoa.
Ooh, that is a good
Oh,
one.
yeah.
They're getting better every
Oh,
minute
yeah.
here. Oh, this is great. Oh, look at that.
It just so happened that when I picked up the rod, the biggest walleye of the day was on the other end.
27 and a half. Wow. 27 and a half. That's a great walleye.
Yes, sir.
Oh, proud of that one. Put it in the box. This will be number 6. Oh, this is great.
We were filling the cooler on a day that most people avoided because of the weather. Never cancel a trip because of a weather forecast, because most often it turns out better than was predicted. Considering how the wind was from the east, we did quite well.
Stable wind from the west.
Wind from the west, the second week of May. Come on back and we'll show you what the walleye fishing is.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
What'll it be like? Describe it.
About 2-hour limit catches.
Is that, are they this big in May?
No, they're running in the 2 to 3 pound range then.
Mm-hmm. And that continues through?
Through July.
Guys can come down with small boats and use jigs?
We have a lot of 16, 18 foot boats come down, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them drift and cast with night crawlers.
But I tell you, you can see the fish. Great catch of fish. And how was it that I got the big walleye? Luck. I just grabbed the rod. It was luck.
I'm glad you
What the
think
heck?
so.
It was luck. Captain did a great job.
Video would have been good on this one. This is a lake sturgeon, 76 pounds, 8 ounces. 64 inches long. He caught it at the end of April, 28th of April, 7 o'clock in the evening, Detroit River, Wayne County, jigging a minnow. So he's obviously fishing for walleye.
True.
Looking for the big hog walleye coming up there.
Right.
And then what happened?
Well, it just stopped, and the sturgeon come right out of the water.
Oh, no kidding.
I've had
Right off the bat?
several of my buddies have caught them too. At the end of April, that's the tip I'm going to give you. At the end of April in the Detroit River, a lot of sturgeon come up. He come up and rolled, and my buddy's in the front of the boat with a trolling motor. Says, alligator, you know. And he runs in the back. He runs in the back of the boat like, well, what are you going to do? Get up there. So, then he dove down. Well, the 5th attempt to get him in the boat, we finally got him.
Well, yeah, the first one,
First 2 times we tried to lasso his tail, that wouldn't work. Then we tried 2 nets. That didn't work. And then my brother, it's in this picture, my brother John, I said, just grab him. So he puts his hands in the water. He goes, oh, I can't do it, you know. And then I had some Bob Allen shooting gloves in my pocket. I give it to him. He puts on these gloves. Then he grabs the sucker. And then we all three of us pull this sturgeon in the boat, and he lands right on top of my brother. Slimed him like the Ghostbusters, you know. And then he goes, oh, God. Then he starts beating on the fish, and we had a whole array of boats around us. And what a trip. Took me an hour and 45 minutes to get him in.
Wow.
He's fourth in the world. I caught him on 10-pound test. I sent my line to Wisconsin for the freshwater, and it tested out to be 14.67 pounds, which was fourth in the world for a 15-pound class.
That's terrific. And those things don't stop fighting when they get in the boat
No,
either,
he
do they?
lived till the next day, and he was in the pickup truck for 3 hours. Wow. And he was still alive in my buddy's pond the next day. He's being mounted right now.
Being mounted?
Yeah.
Wow, what a terrific trophy. Well, an exciting story. Congratulations, Bob Yancey from Newport.
Beautiful evening, beautiful lake. Well, it's actually a pond. There's no inlet, no stream filling it. It's fed by springs in several places, pumping cold water in from the bottom. The location is Dickinson County in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. The date, early May, turkey season. The time, about 6 p.m. after the end of turkey hunting hours. This pond has been stocked with rainbow trout, and I'm about to learn a lesson in what fish eat and how far they migrate around a pond, a lesson that's going to surprise the heck out of me.
This is over the deep spot where the springs are down. The springs really aren't as important at this time of year when the water's cold anyway, but they are later in the summer. But the trout like to hang around here, these rainbow trout. I'm going to put the oars up here. John, if you could drop that anchor there in the back of the boat. Pitch that over. Good pitch. Good one. Didn't get anything on the lens either.
Oh, lucky.
Well, this will hold us in position. I haven't seen any trout rising. Of course, we have some ripple on the water from the wind, no problem. I'm gonna set these oars down. A detriment in a boat like this is the noise it makes. Now, these vibrations through the floor of the boat travel 6 times faster through the water than they do through the air. And fish can pick this up, especially through their lateral line, which picks up low frequency sounds. And it does spook them. So it's better if we can sort of sit here a minute and stay quiet. Now, you're gonna hear in the background, I'm sure, Canada geese. Oh, there's a ton of Canada geese on this pond. Now I got one on. Look at him fight. This is what I'm using, is 4-pound test line with an ultralight rod and spinning reel. Look at this. Now see, this is on hooks that have been pinched down. The barbs have been pinched down. And as long as you keep the line tight, I mean, that's gonna hang on there. Now, trout tend to flip their head like that, and when they jump, they have a chance of shaking the hook. But if you keep a tight line, keep that rod bent over, you're gonna be able to keep them on. But take a look at this. This is a rainbow trout, an inland rainbow. I mean, much more highly colored than oh, here he goes, than a steelhead, for example, that goes out to Lake Michigan. But look at that color down its side, boy. You can see why they're called a rainbow trout. Now, I guess we might as well keep a couple of these. What I'm gonna do is put them in a bucket of water to keep them alive. Now, up in the lodge here, you might not believe this, but Gene is a fanatic trout fisherman, fanatic outdoorsman, and in his lodge, which is absolutely a dream lodge, he has a big tank that has well water from an artesian well flowing through it, where we put, he keeps trout, so when he wants a trout dinner, they can be fresh. So we're gonna take this one. Now, the barbless hook comes right out, and in the bucket he goes. I'll change that water once or twice about every 10 minutes. But I know you can't see the fish that are down here, but I'm going to show you. These are trout that have been planted in here. They don't really propagate well, reproduce all that well in water like this, but I'm going to toss out some pellets. These are just commercial feed pellets for trout. You're going to see here in just, I would say within 10 seconds, we're going to have trout coming to the surface.
I expected the water to literally explode with trout. I had just tossed out hundreds of these little commercial feed pellets for trout. Why, on the other side of the pond, by the lodge, trout went nuts when you threw a handful into the water. Just look at that.
Oh, yeah.
The taste of these pellets was something the trout loved. Wouldn't you say that these pellets would make great bait? By the lodge, the trout fought for the pellets, but across the pond, nothing.
Go ahead, fish. Prove me wrong. See, John, people are going to say I can't even get him when I feed him. You know, I wonder, Gene doesn't feed these trout the pellets out here in this part of the pond. They're up by the lodge. He's always throwing the pellets out there. And I wonder if those fish that are up there know what those pellets are and these out here don't. Could very well be. But this lure I'm using, this little spinner, this imitates a minnow. Now, trout mainly feed on aquatic insects, but the larger trout, the ones that we have like right here in the bucket, they shift over and feed on minnows. They need more nutrition, as much nutrition as they can get with each meal. Look at that. I can't believe that. I would have thought that those pellets out on the water would have worked like a charm. There's a theory down the tube.
I would have bet you $1,000 that those pellets would have been gone in a minute or so. They smelled like fish, like some kind of fish meal. They reminded me of the commercial fish scents that you buy to put on your lures. But the scent didn't do a thing for the trout across the pond. They preferred that minnow-imitating spinner.
Yeah, the fish just started to rise just a moment ago. By rise, I mean, what they're doing is they come up towards the surface to slurp a bug. They don't always splash the surface. Sometimes you just see them open their mouth and, whoa. Open their mouth and slurp that bug. Another rainbow for the tank. The less you can handle a fish like this, the better. Sometimes they'll hold still for you to unhook them and put them in the bucket. Okay, I'm going to try it one more time out there. We had about 4 or 5 rises all together. Get this spinner out as far as I can. That was a good one.
What a lesson this was. The trout went for the flash of a spinner on one side of the pond and didn't care about the strong-smelling, good-tasting pellets that the trout learned to love by the lodge, where they ate those pellets every day. Apparently, the trout don't migrate much around the pond. They have certain areas they stick to. Those that stay in front of the lodge learn to eat the tasty pellets, but those that live on the other side of the pond in the flooded timber feed on insects and minnows. Toss them an insect or minnow imitation, and they go for it. But don't toss them a sweet-smelling, specially developed fish pellet, because they don't seem to know what it is.
Oh, yeah.
If you can catch a fish, open up its stomach, find out what it's eating. That's your best clue as to what you would better be using for bait. A tiny hook and fish pellet would work on this side of the pond, but definitely not on the other. We haven't had one in 3 years, but we're gonna do it again for old time's sake. July 13th and 14th at the Houghton Lake High School, an outdoor fair. We want the public to meet all the hounds and the puppies that are at the center of attention in the bear hunting issue. Mickey Wingate of the Great Lakes Ferret Association is putting a ferret festival together for the fair. Puppy alley, archery events, muzzleloaders village, big shooting show, lots of exhibitors and more. As we add new events, we'll announce them on this show. So the outdoor fair at Houghton Lake, July 13th and 14th, afternoon, perch fishing with me on the Captain Nichols party boat off South Haven. Hey, we've come up with a way you can join me on May 11th. The boat is reserved for our television viewers, and 16 pairs of tickets will go to the highest bidders, with proceeds going to the local public TV stations of the winners. Now, if you'd like to submit a bid for a pair of tickets, jot down the amount you're bidding, put it in a sealed envelope, mark Perch Trip on the front, and send it to our address in Bath. On Monday, April 29th, we'll open the bids. The top 16 will get pairs of tickets for Saturday afternoon, May 11th. Now, we're going to have some venison chili on board. We'll produce a special video for the people on the trip, and all the bids will be donations for Michigan Public Television. Now, this is going to be a fun trip. That's what it's all about, and your participation will give a big boost to public TV. So write or call if you want a bid form or more information.
It's been a little slow. The Trenton Lighthouse, supposedly, new state record walleye. Now, we haven't seen the actual confirmed weight on that, but I tell you, this is the year to get down there and fish that Detroit River if you want some big ones for advanced registration. Anyway, it's going to be a good weekend for fishing, especially along the west side of the state, so get outdoors if you can. It's a great place to be. See you next week.
See what he saw, though. He went back.
Steve, let me grab your ankles and you reach way out for it.
I just hope we don't just reel in another pair of lips.
Oh, yes.
You got a good one on, Jim.
Yeah,
Gonna
this
straighten
is.
the hook on this one?
No, don't even say those words.
Gentle handling of the rod is so important at this stage. Nobody knows how well that fish is hooked.
Let me tell you, no one is talking on the boat right now. There's not a word being said.
Keep his nose up.
Little encouragement now. Got him?
I got him.
Got him, all right.
All right.
Jim.
So that's what it's all
That's
about.
what it's all about. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a nice one.
That's a nice fish.
Yes, it is. Oh, that's
Thank
great.
you, boys. Appreciate the help.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.